Your Excellency, Dr. Gogia Tesfaye, Minister of Youth and Social Affairs of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Excellencies Ministers, Your Excellency Ambassador Salma Malik Hadidi, Deputy Chairperson of the African Union. I didn't get the opportunity to congratulate you for that, for being elected as our Deputy Chairperson of the Commission, and well deserved. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, and also Commissioners, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ms. Chidio Cleopatra, Chairperson of the African Union Youth Envoy, Honorable Diala Mamuni, President of Pan-African Youth Union, esteemed young Africans, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. Indeed, a great start, isn't it? With great speech and also an uplifting and amazing musical ensemble with great artists, and I was completely blown away. They are talented, aren't they? It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to Addis Ababa for the Pan-African Youth Leadership Meeting. Your presence signifies our collective commitment to investing in Africa's young leaders and empowering our youth. I would love to start my remarks with an African saying which I believe fits today's gathering. Here it goes. Those who recognize and respect elders have their own paths towards their future. It is therefore pertinent, as we heard earlier by some of the previous speakers, it is indeed befitting to acknowledge and embrace the wisdom of African elders and leaders and men of letters, draw upon the legacy of thought leadership that illuminates the African past. The primary challenge we Africans faced during the brutal period of slavery was the fight for self-determination or self-definition against the dehumanizing logic that justified the tyranny of our predicament. The intellectual resistance of figures like Ahmed Baba of Timbuktu, Mali, Ikweane of Nigeria, and Kugano of Ghana was crucial in combating this vile ideology of slavery. From this struggle emerged the architects of a new Africa, fighting not only with arms, but with ideas against colonialism and its daunting shadows. The guiding lights of Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Emperor Haile Selassie, Jomo Kenyatta, Secretary Leopold Sedar Senghor, Patrice Lumumba, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Ahmed Ben Bella, Azikwini, and Tafawa Balewa, Milton Obote, Kenneth Kaunda, Steve Biko, and others illuminated the path to freedom and the birth of the Organization of African Unity. They did not succumb to the shadows of despair or the burden of colonialism. Rather, they embodied an unwavering spirit of heroism, confronting adversity with an unyielding resolve. This is a promise to the cries of our ancestors who languished in the colonial dungeons, and a response to their plight for freedom, and a reminder that those buried beneath the ocean bed will never be forgotten. We owe those leaders and pioneers and men of letters a great debt of gratitude. Distinguished delegates, the present world reveals a new landscape of complexities that demand us to navigate and traverse with clear-eyed objectives and actionable outcomes. The increased geo-economic competition and political tensions have placed the African youth at the forefront of this challenge. This could also be examined in view of our past history, where the African youth has been subject to many vulnerabilities. However, despair and hopelessness have never been the answer in the past, nor will it be in the future. As our one of poets and a man of letter, Francis Fanon reminds us, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it. Indeed, our forefathers fulfilled and kept the Solomon promise of the liberation of Africa. And now the mantle of responsibility falls upon this generation to guide and spearhead the progress and development of Africa. Africa, with the world's youngest and fast-growing population and abundant critical raw materials, holds a vast wealth poised to fuel economic and social progress. We are now witnessing this potential being realized in the success of young African entrepreneurs making significant contribution across various sectors. The digital startups, which I saw this morning, I believe so many of you might have also seen it, right before we enter this hall, have left many of us, I believe, quite impressed. This is indeed a confirmation that Africa is strategically positioning its youth to excel in sets of emerging fields, including biotechnology, artificial intelligence, financial technology, and green economy. This is also another testament that the youth will meaningfully drive the successful implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Allow me to extend my sincere gratitude to these forward-looking and hard-working young entrepreneurs who, against the tides, forged their own vision into a reality and presented or showcased that this morning before we came to this magnificent hall. While celebrating these achievements, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot deny the many pressing challenges confronting our youth: pervasive unemployment and underemployment, access to vital education and healthcare, and the growing digital divide are major issues that need to be addressed. The destructive impacts of climate change and environmental degradation are undermining productivity. Political instability and conflicts are also barriers to the advancement of youth. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the biggest question of our generation, I presume, is the search for the course of action that you should pursue. The question is, do you, as those astute leaders who came before us, shall engage in the vital work of thought leadership are we ready to summon the courage, not only envision a new future, but to actively build on it? This demands a careful consideration of ideas and ideals to look into our challenges and navigate the crisis of global leadership and the shifting geopolitical landscape. Earlier, I heard, I believe, Honorable Diala saying that don't bring politics to the youth. Well, I'm afraid, I wish it were the case, but I'm afraid you can't escape that responsibility. Who would, in our right mind, replace, the current generation? It's indeed your responsibility to walk on the footsteps of our elders and as well as our current leaders. So it is a major responsibility that the young generation has to take over. And you have to be ready for that matter, wherever you are, in your respective countries. The unique circumstance compel us to pursue novel ideas that best address our quest for development as well as the complexities of global crisis. In this regard, I would like to mention Ethiopia's experience, in particular, the introduction of our Prime Minister, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Medemer idea, and forethought that is directly attributed to the need of this quest for thought leadership. You can have any leader. We have never been short of that, but we should have leaders with ideas, forethoughts, and grand concepts. The Medemer concept is all about combining indigenous thoughts, knowledge, perspective, and resource for an effective social and economic transformation. You can't just simply do it in silos. You have to bring all resources together in order to transform a society. The methodology is functioning with the notion that the whole is greater than the simple sum of its parts. So that always requires creating synergy and coming together to develop your respective country. Like Nkrumah's conscientism, which I believe you are familiar with it, the Medemer concept emphasizes the importance of a positive and forward-looking ideology to drive national development. Steve Biko's black consciousness was about defining blackness on black terms, not anyone terms or dictation. And Medemer is about defining an Ethiopian and African path to development on African terms. The Medemer thought also shares Ujama's focus on social harmony and communal values. Medemer idea is not rooted on the impeccability or flawlessness of the concept itself. It is rather centered in its viability, efficacy, or if you like, practicability, and the impact on the broader society and the change it across. The thought's practical hallmark is its ability to create sustained momentum that overcomes challenges and drives progress, resulting in positioning Ethiopia among the continent's fast and growing and biggest economy. to mention among the many achievements propelled by this idea, by this concept, by this thought, are the Green Legacy Initiative, climate resilient with production that would lay the foundation for food security, sustainable energy generation, and the dynamic urban development that you witness are the fruits of this new thinking among many other achievements. The Green Legacy Initiative, with its significant expansion of forest coverage, demonstrates our commitment to sustainability. This has driven Ethiopia's progress towards self-sufficiency, exemplified by a national program called Yelemat Turfat, were literally translated the bounty of the basket. The name Lemat, or basket, itself carries dual significance in Ethiopian and as well as African context. First, Lemat, basket, in Ethiopia's lived experience, evokes the image of a basket overflowing with agricultural produce. Second, it is also the African basket, which is a common size across the continent, a symbol of bountiful harvest, embodying the very heart of Africa's livelihood and our food system. This national initiative, therefore, is an integral part of the continental aspiration for food self-sufficiency for all citizens. May I take this moment to thank our youth, who are the drivers of these national achievements. Indeed, they are the true agents of the Medemer generation. I trust there are, I believe, English version of Medemer ideals, and I believe that it will be available to you by the organizers. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, in the contemporary global politics, where traditional aid is withering away under our eyes, the period has come where we're not going to stand in the gates and doors of rich countries and beg for assistance and aid. Even if we do, they're telling that they're not going to do it. Therefore, Africa must first secure, along this line, 3 critical elements. These are ownership of our national resources. Definitely, when you talk about ownership of natural resources, it reverberates not only in Africa, but across the continent. Second, mobilization of our wealth. And then third, consolidating our economic foundation. It should then strategically integrate into the global value chain, moving beyond raw material export through industrialization. Africa must ensure that its youth are collectively and bravely confronting the new challenges of our era by harnessing technology and innovation as catalysts for progress through quality education and skill development. We shall also invest heavily on entrepreneurship and innovation that will help in fostering job creation and African-driven solutions. The empowerment and participation of the youth in decision-making promoting leadership and civic engagement is indeed imperative. As governments have the duty to champion policies that cultivate education, entrepreneurship, and youth employment, regional bodies like the African Union and many others must also elevate their efforts in empowering African youth as the engines of development. The private sector, in turn, must transcend the much-used terminology of corporate social responsibility. It should rather provide vital funding, mentorship, and business support to genuinely impact the efforts of the youth. These collective commitments will forge a future where African youth are not only participants, but architects of their destiny. Excellencies, esteemed youth, at this period of global leadership crisis, and if you like, disarray, we see people doubting the bright future of Africa. From my decades of experience in diplomacy and foreign relations, I found these skeptics utterly wrong. I want to say that this is a time we Africans have decided to move forward, more united and stronger than ever, to decide our fates and a course of action. The main reason why we shall articulate our position in no uncertain terms, unequivocally, is because we have put our trust and confidence on the capacity and power of our youth as an active agent of change, capable of navigating the intricacies of global dynamics. To fully unlock the vast power of African youth, it must be driven by total leadership and action. And again, I'll repeat it, by total leadership and action. Let us therefore transform our ideas and forethoughts into these tangible actions and become the architects of change and progress. I'm confident that the summit will culminate in actionable declaration that will meaningfully advance the concerns, challenges, desires, hope, and aspiration of the hundreds of millions of young Africans. Thank you. Asante sana. May I extend to you, I've seen it in the program, of course, a warm invitation to explore the transformative development your city, Addis Ababa, is going through. And you'll be rewarded if you visit also here, the Adwas Museum. You will discover, you'll find yourselves. You will see the struggle of your ancestors, the resolute fight they made against colonialism. You will be proud of it. Thank you very much again.